In this video, I'm going to be talking about a frequently asked question. This question is like a surfacing foundation of the immigration part of this channel. Yeah. So this video is my immigration story. It is so important that I have to bring it as a base for every other thing to fall in place. So why don't you sit back and let's get right into the video. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Frank Ekwonu. If you're a returning subscriber, I say thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new, why not just subscribe, join the family? You're here, I mean, like you just have to join the family, man. So this video, like I said, is a surfacing foundation video which explains the struggles I faced as to my landing here in Canada, which has not been easy. So I have to give this as for people who want to come in to know that, okay, this guy, he didn't just wake up, boom, and he found himself there. No. I had to walk the struggles, my G. Yeah, I had to walk the struggles. It was not easy for me. In fact, I didn't even imagine myself going through this process on my own. But thank God, he made it happen. So it's a long story, my G. It's a long story, guys. It all started back in 2019. Yeah, 2019 January was when it all started. Luckily for me, we were on strike. For some of you in Nigeria, you know how ASU used to bombard us with strike. So we're on ASU strike, which started in November 2018 and went on till December, January, and we didn't see any hope of anything even coming at all. So in January, after we've already enjoyed 2 months of staying at home, in January, then my aunt called me. What was one evening, and she was like, "Hello, Frank. How are you? Okay, okay. I'm checking something. Let me know if you are going to try and apply to one school in America." The initial plan was America, guys. And I was like, I was shocked. I was shocked at that moment. Like, I didn't even know what to reply her for like 5 seconds. She was like, "Hello, are you there?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm here." She's like, "Okay, yeah, fine. So let's just make your research. Go on Google. Try and make sure if you can get any information. Make sure the school is not too expensive. Make sure it's an accredited institution. Don't just say because you are going to America you want to go to any school." And I said, "Fine, good and fine." After the call, I think I didn't do it that day because I did not take her serious. So see, I didn't take her serious. So I was like, maybe they want to pull my legs or something. I'm like, well, let me just leave her. Then my second aunt called again. I was like, "Frank, have you checked that thing and what they said and what they said?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on it and I'm working on it." So I started searching for schools in America. They aren't easy, man. They are not easy. International students here in North America especially are really trying. People in Australia are still a bit on the good side, but we here, it wasn't easy. So after everything, my aunt then called me. I was like, okay, since we can't really get much good news in terms of a good search of school and something that is not too expensive, let us try other countries. Then she was like, okay, let's move on to Canada. And my growing part of my childhood was, everyone knows America, everyone knows the UK, everyone knows those two countries basically, but people don't really talk about Canada. Like, okay, yeah, let me look for Canada. I started searching for schools. Even those schools in Canada were expensive, like the University of Toronto, the University of British Columbia, and the likes. But still, there were still some other ones, but you might not really find them easily. So she called and said, okay, that her friend who they were living together formerly in South Africa, but later migrated to Canada, knows a school that would be good for me. I said, okay, fine, let him know that I'm interested. Sorry. Then he then brought up the University of Manitoba. I'm like, oh yeah, I went to check it off. It wasn't too expensive, but it wasn't too cheap. Yeah, so that's how it is. Then I started checking it up, and I then came to the conclusion that, okay, let's just apply. I was not taking it serious, but we just had to apply. My dad wasn't even taking it serious at all. So then after the whole filling of the form, they asked for my WAEC, they asked for my passport. Then I paid an application fee and we submitted. Then the ASU strike was called off on the 8th of February, if I'm not mistaken. On the 8th of February. So we're all happy. We that went home from school, rejoicing, even though I think the 3 months have done some good and some bad in our life. We're still happy. Then we had to round up and go back to school activities, which I think I went that week, the weekend of that particular week, it was called off. So we went back to school, continued our academic activities. I didn't even hear from the school I applied for because I didn't even take it to heart like that. So fast forward to June, I think the second week of June, I just got a call early in the morning from my dad and was like, "Congratulations, Namdi, you have gotten admission." I'm like, gotten admission? Where? And I remember that 5 months ago, I applied to my present school now. And I'm like, 5 months is too long to process an admission. Reasons why the admission process took very long is going to be in a separate video. That is a story for another day. So fast forward to that period, I think it was June 19th or 20th, if I'm not mistaken. The offer letter came out. My dad called me. Then my family friend over here too called me and they all congratulated. But they were like, this is just the first part of the journey. The second part is to go and fight with immigration. You have to fight with them in terms of your visa. Make proof of statement of account, make proof of this, make proof of that, so that you don't have any criminal records, so that you don't have any medical problems or medical effect or anything that's going to affect their own country. So that was where the second phase, and that is the most important phase of the journey. Mind you, the most important phase is not getting admission. Anybody anywhere around the world can get admission, but the most important phase is fighting with immigration. I call it fighting with immigration because they still deny people study permits. Not everyone end up getting that study permit, no matter how much you have in your account. If I tell you how much I had in my statement of account when I submitted my visa, you'll be marveled. In fact, you yourself that you even have more money, they might end up denying you and they might end up giving me. Yeah, that is how it is. So sometimes I see when people talk about your statement of account has to be gallant before you can. Nah, forget gallant. This one is no matter of gallant. The thing is, if you don't have the necessary requirement, if you don't have the necessary if you cannot even explain yourself, explain why you chose Canada, explain why you wanted to go to that particular school, what would that degree do for you in the future? My G, you're on your way to being denied, and they will not even care if your father is. Let me just tell you the truth. They will not care if your father is a rich man. When it comes to immigration, there's no bribery and corruption. They're not Nigerians dealing with your file, so there's nothing like, okay, this person is going to. No, you're dealing strictly with the Canadians, even though you're submitting in Nigeria. Your visa might even be stamped somewhere in Nairobi. You never can tell. So there are different people dealing with your application. So fast forward to that period, the admission came in June. So I had to renew my passport. Although I had I think less than 6 months for me to renew, but if I had renewed if I had applied with what I have, I won't get the 4 years study permits. So I had to go renew the passport, which was another wasting of time. You know how the Nigerian immigration service is when it comes to renewing of passport and everything. It took me 1 month to get my passport back. Then I had just 1 month to gather all the documents. And the policy here says it must be 3 months before the resumption dates, which we have October, November, and December at the time, because I had only few days in September to carry out my medical records, to do my police certificates, to get all the requirements down and submit it before the 30th of September, so that I'll fall in the pool of people to be taken for the January visa. So after I did everything, I had to go all the way down to Ikeja to do my medicals. I went all the way down to somewhere around Ikoyi to do my police certificate, and I got all the documents and submitted. Some people actually submit and wait for the immigration IRCC Canada to actually tell you to go and do your medicals. I didn't want to take that risk because I didn't even have time on my side. I can't start waiting for you to start telling me, okay, go and do your medicals, okay, go and do this and do that. So fast forward to that moment, I then submitted my application on the 25th of September, of which I was called for biometrics on the 27th of September. So your application does not start counting or does not start being processed until after you've completed your biometrics. Mind you, if you do your application, if you submit your application very early enough, before a particular threshold time, you can get your biometrics letter the next day. But because there were some little delays in the processing and the calculating of our landed property documents, I couldn't get my biometrics letter until 2 days after, of which I went for. So fast forward to after I submitted, all my mind was, okay, it's time for me now to flex. Then I was expecting the visa passport requests to come in around December, since they said 3 months. I mean, I never expected to take less or to even take further, because school was to resume January of the following year. So I went back to school. I went back to my normal activities, went back to lecturers, went back to different school life. Then when I was still in LASU, my mind was off it, but I was still praying, I was still fasting, I still had to go to churches, and that was part of my where they say write your 5 points of desire or 5 points of something. That was always the number 1 or the number 2 of what I always wanted. So I believed, I had faith that this thing will actually work. At the beginning I didn't have, but close to the ending I saw that there was actually a light at the end of the tunnel. So I don't want to give it too much negligence in that sense. So then something surprised me. On the 7th, there was a mistake from my own part. The original passport request came out on the 24th of October. That was when the original passport request came out. But I never checked CIC website, not until the 7th of November. So that was my own mistake. I actually caused some part of delay from my end, of which I never expected something like a study permit visa application to take just 3 weeks and 4 days. That was like one of the most unforgettable miracle God has actually performed. Which whenever I tell people, how did you do it? Which agent did you use? And I'm telling them which agent. I didn't even have time to even start looking for agents. Not like we didn't have money to pay agents, but there was no time, because it was as if my dad was timing me as regards the application. So I was all on my own. I did everything all on my own. The only thing I told him to do was just provide with necessary documents like the landed property and the other things. Leave the rest to me. I'm going to do it myself. That was how it is. After I got the request on the 24th and I checked it on the 7th of November, I was happy, very, very happy. I was on my feet, jumping on top of the zinc. Then I was still in school. But I was not like, so if I hadn't checked this thing from time to time, I just had to open the site that day just jokingly, and I saw original passport request. And I've made so much research as regards Canadian immigration that whenever you get your original passport request, there is no going back. You cannot, even if the devil wants to come down, you cannot be denied. Canadian immigration will never ask you for your passport request if they want to deny you visa. The disclaimer out here, I am not an immigration consultant, I'm not an agent, I'm only sharing my own experience. So whenever you guys want to leave comments below, please don't say, but my agent told me this is how they do it, because I don't know your agent and I don't know how your agent process work. What might work for me might not work for you. It all depends on how you package your document and the faith you put in when sealing that document. Because like I said before, it's not all about the money. You can have millions and they will still deny you. That's another story of the day, where I'll explain to you how they denied a man that had over 49 point something million in his account. So after I got the letter, the only option I had was to call my dad. Dad, I'm coming home. And they're like, what are you coming home for? You're about writing exams in school and everything. I said, yeah, but I got my passport request, so I have to go and submit the passport before the deadline, because they always give you 30 days deadline. So the next morning I entered the next available bus or car to my house, of which that same day I had to go to I arrived late at my home, so I couldn't make it. I had to go the next day. So I went the next day with the passport, went to the VFS center in Ikate, Lekki, where I stay. So when I went there, I submitted everything, and they told me, okay, you're going to get an email of so and so to come and collect it. And I said, fine. I left and went back to school again. So my own prayer was, if it comes back, please let it come back in good note. Even though I was sure that they can't deny me since they already requested passport, I was still scared that what if I now open the passport and I see see that the passport is empty or there is nothing there. That was my own fear as part of the journey. But I just had to summon courage, and I went home and I told him I've submitted it. It was like, okay, fine, I should just go back to school and I should not worry that God has everything in control. I said, hey, I pray. The next morning, I took the next available bus back to campus and I continued my normal life activities. And this time around, I was so cautious that every morning after prayer, I check the pending mails, the mails coming in my box. I checked the spam mails if it mistakenly entered the spam mails. I was just on the neck of IRCC. I didn't let them breathe for one moment. After which, I even at a point I was like, okay, maybe it's because I'm putting too much of attention to it. Then maybe I should just back out and see. Maybe if God is trying to test me or something, then He will just fire this thing straight to me. After which I was like, okay, let me just give it space. Maybe it will come. It will surely come. And the day I decided to give it space, that evening it came. I was like, dear Frank, your passport is ready for collection. Oh my God. I was so happy. As usual, who wouldn't be happy? The next morning, you know me now, prepared and I went home. And my dad was like, okay, hey, your passport is ready. Oh yeah, now go and collect it. I'm waiting. And I said, okay, since you don't want to go with me, let me go on my own. On getting home, my dad already baited and was like, why are you wasting time? I'm like, boy, you said you're not going with me. Why are you prepared? As if you're the one that wants to collect the. In fact, gone. You don't even set past me. We won't collect the visa. Then it was not like, my friend, go and, you know how Nigerian parents are, my friend, go and bait, my friend. And I went to shower up again, prepare. Then we set out. On getting to the VFS office, we told them we were coming for collection. We went to the counter upstairs. Then we had to wait for my name to be called. So one thing about Canadian immigration office or organization, they are very, very funny. When they give you your study permit or your work permit or your permanent residency or whatever visa they are giving you, they're not going to close the passport for you and file it for you to look for where it is. They will open the passport to the passport page. So when you open, if you say anything, if you don't say anything, that was your business. So that's what they did. So how people usually know that you've been given visa is once it is put at your passport page, once it slots out, the reaction on your face is what people used to know if you are given visa or not. That was how I knew the man of the 49 million was actually denied visa. So when I slot out my my passport, my dad saw it and was like, visa! Yeah, we're shouting, yeah. Everybody around me were like, they've given them. Hey, praise God. Then my dad was so happy. My dad was about tears of joy. I'm like, this man, don't go and disgrace me here. So he actually walked out of the VFS office and was so happy. It was like one of the most joyous moments in my life till date. The fact that the visa didn't take struggles, the fact that I didn't pay any agent, the fact that it came at the shortest peak of time. Like, who would expect a study permit to take 3 weeks? That was God, that was God. So after everything, we buckled ourselves up and we set out. We went back to because there was this cafe where it's like the man also helps people to submit documents, but we did scanning of most of our documents, so we submitted. So it would be easier for us because we didn't have a scanner at home or anything. So when we went back there, the man was doing some application for some other people. Then he saw me and they were all happy. They were like, no school fees paid, no travel history, a brand new virgin passport that has not been disvirgined with anything, and that you're just giving visa. Like, they were shocked because they have never seen it before. Even in the man's how many years of doing study permits for a lot of people, he has never seen it before. Although the good thing about the man was that the man is a very, very devoted Christian, so he also put faith in it that it was actually going to work out. But he too didn't believe that it was going to take that short period of time So after everything, we braced ourselves up. We called my mom, my brother, everybody were happy. Now it was time to travel. So we're like, okay, deliberating on the start date. The University of Manitoba was to begin academic sessions on the 6th of January, of which their orientation will hold on the 3rd of January. There's no way in a typical Igbo man's life, whenever you go to village for Christmas, there's no way you can make it back from the village by the 3rd of January. When it's not that your village is pursuing you or there's a witch in your village that does not want you to rest. So after we traveled, I had to go see my grandfather, at least for the last time. I had to go see my grandmother, at least to say goodbye. My siblings and relatives in the village at the time. So after everything, after the whole goodbye scenario and the we'll see you soon and every, so we set back for Lagos. But before then, we had problems, and the problems that came up was, one, we had problems getting a plane ticket, and two, our date of departure from the village to Lagos was kind of fluctuating. So I was angered at the time. I like how can visa come out and you tell me I was so pissed. In fact, the mistake was we didn't book the flight ticket very early. We booked it quite late. Booking flight ticket from the 24th of December or from the 23rd of December down to like the 10th of January is so not the right time for you to book flight tickets. But we didn't have a choice. We had to make sure, because if it's not January, it is May. And take for instance, if I had resumed in May, I wouldn't even be able to come because of the whole pandemic. Who would let me leave Nigeria in that situation? So I was like, even if I go late, I'm still going. So then after we purchased the ticket for the 13th of January. So automatically what it means was that I spent 24 hours of my birthday on plane. Which is so amazing. It's amazing to me because that was like a New Year gift for me. New Year gift was me traveling to the country. So I felt that gift also stands as my birthday gift. I didn't mind going on my birthday. But also my friends were like, how are you going to travel on your birthday? What do you mean? How are you going to celebrate it? I was like, you guys, don't worry. I can't change the ticket at this peak time. It is never ever possible for me to change the ticket. So it has already come for me, and I don't even have plans on changing it to any later date. So after everything, we came back to Lagos, prepared, packed our load, and set out for the airport. The crazy thing about the whole ticket was that I went to book an airline, Royal Air Maroc. Royal Air Maroc has the worst airline timing in Africa. Their planes depart Lagos by 6:30 a.m. So you have to make sure you are at the airport at around 3:30 to 4 a.m. Reason being that they stop checking in 1 hour before departure, which means they stop checking in at 5:30 a.m. We got to the airport at about 3:30, and we met people sleeping on the floor. Lots of people that wanted to follow Air Maroc had to sleep in the airport, all because they wanted to make it on time with the check-in. If you're a frequent traveler and you're watching this video, you should know the struggle about how it is in the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. It is really crazy. It is something you wouldn't like to experience, and I really hope you don't go through the hassle of trying to check in. By the time I got to the airport, nobody asked me for anything. The airport was still empty. People were still sleeping. And Royal Air Maroc was about to start their check-in, I think 30 minutes later, which was around 4 a.m., 4-ish, yeah. So they started the whole checking in, and we checked in, and we're trying to roam about and everything. So I got to the airport, I shrink wrapped my bag and did everything. I wouldn't want the video to be too long, but if the video is on a minimal time, I'm going to slot in some clips of the whole travel. It's not everything, just to make the video not too long, but just for you to see how it was there. And if you don't see it, I'm going to create a separate video for that, just to take notes. So after the whole thing, luckily my dad met an old friend of his, which is from our own town, or from our own village in Anambra State. The man was actually traveling to Spain on the same Royal Air Maroc. We were to leave Lagos to land in Casablanca. Then from Casablanca was where we departed. At the time of the announcement for us to depart, it was time to say goodbye to the family. It was not a teary period for me because I knew I was going for the best, and they also wanted to wish me well. So it was just a normal wee thing, you understand? So it was just like, Daddy, I'm off my G, because sometimes I usually whine him. I told my mom, I'm going, my uncle that followed me, and my mom's brother, and one other pastor that was also did everything after we already prayed, and everything was just smooth. So me and the man going to Spain actually went to check in our bag. In fact, the immigration officer that even checked our details, itinerary, and the whole passport ish, checked everything. So okay, they stamped it, and we had to go here, remove shoe, remove socks, remove this one, remove your phone, everything. You scan it through, then you proceed to the boarding, to the boarding gate, where there's like a hall before the gate. So you just wait for your plane to be announced for boarding to start. So that was what we did. We waited for like about 30 minutes, 30 or 45 minutes at the time, which was somewhere around 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, yeah. So they started boarding. They checked passport, checked your itinerary, your boarding pass, and we got into the plane. So we left Lagos at about 6:35 a.m. landed in Casablanca, Morocco at about 11:20 a.m. The wait time was 5 hours, so I was to depart Morocco for Montreal at about 5 p.m. So my partner, which traveled with me, was going to Spain, which is about 1 hour flight from Morocco. So he went to his own boarding gate, and I went to mine. So it was like a separate journey on its own. So at 5 we had to start boarding. And the thing about the jet lag or the time difference is that on getting to Montreal, it was still the 13th. So like I celebrated my birthday back and forth. Like leaving Morocco, it was close to night, which was the end of the 13th of January. Arriving Montreal, which is supposed to be 14th, because of the time difference, it is still 13 days. So I was still able to say happy. People were still able to wish me happy birthday and everything, and I was still accepting because I'm already in a new time zone. So I got to Montreal, and the wait time was killing. I got to Montreal at about 7:30 p.m. and I had to wait for the next, because the flight leaving for Winnipeg already was leaving at that time, was already boarding at that time. So that was the last flight going to Winnipeg that day. So the next flight was the next one, which was 8 a.m. I went to another section of the whole part, the Air Canada section, so that it would be easy for me to locate my flight and the boarding gate, of which was departing 8 a.m. tomorrow, the next day, sorry. So after the whole sleeping, after the whole stress and everything, I was so tired. The jet lag experience, the thing is that you cannot even say you want to sleep or you want to rest, because you have to sleep when Nigerians are sleeping, and you have to wake when Nigerians are waking, because you are still used to the time difference. And even on jets, when you're on plane and you see that it is something like 12 p.m. where you are flying, but where you are approaching is already 10 p.m. there. So before you know it, the darkness will just come from nowhere, and your body will never know if you have to fall asleep or if you have to still remain awake. So you get that kind of scenario. That was what happened to me. I then left Montreal at about 8 a.m. Got to Winnipeg because of the time difference. Got to Winnipeg at about 10 a.m. Then my family friend came to pick me, and the whole Mary that arrived safely. I called my dad. I called everyone. They wished me well and everything. That was how I departed Nigeria on the 13th of January. After which, my whole documentation, my SIN number, which is going to be those documentations that you're going to get, which is the things you will need to do when you arrive and the things you need to bring when you arrive or while coming to Canada, is going to be in a separate video. But this right here, all I explained is everything that happened while immigrating to Canada, from the start of the admission process to landing in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment and share. Comment whatever you feel you want me to do. in any of my videos. I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.